Welcome to Career Mastered Inside Career Success Show. I'm Dr. Lisa Wicker. Happy New Year. I'm really glad that you're with us today. I'm especially glad that you have chosen to take the time to hear from our special guest. We have a wonderful, amazing leader with us today. And before I get to that point, I just wanted to let you know that we're in our second season. I'm really glad that our guest has chosen to be the first for the year. But more importantly, I'm ecstatic that we can still do what we do, which is the business of business, compelling you to hear from women that have been successful and are proven in their leadership and the work that they do. What we do on this show is profile high achieving women, women who are mastering their careers, women who have lift others up, women who are in the marketplace every day, compelling themselves to do the business of business, and women who give back. And so today is no different than other days that we have a special guest who's going to share with us about her career. We're going to get the chance to just take a peek inside of what she does. I got to tell you, every time that I see her, she looks like she's having the blast of a lifetime. And so I'm really, truly interested to learn how she does it, why she does it, when she does it, and who and where she does it. So we're going to talk with her. But before that, let me tell you a little about Career Mastered Magazine. It is a quarterly publication that has been in the marketplace since 2018. We're actually walking into our fifth year. Congratulations. We're going to give ourselves a hand. And we're pleased to let you know that we started in Detroit, New York, and Charlotte. And then we went to the nation, and now it's global. And so we are really appreciative for your support and what you do to help us make a path for the next generation of leaders. And it's really about advancing women's leadership. We also are very, very pleased that we have men allies that support us as well. And so this year, you'll be hearing from some of the men. But let's not take any more time. And I'd like to introduce and bring on our guest, Dr. Pam Perry.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, Dr. Lisa. Good
How
to
are you?
see you. I'm doing great. Thank you.
I'm absolutely so
I
glad to
didn't
see you.
realize I was the first guest of the year. Thank you. That feels special.
Yeah,
2022 is definitely starting out better. So thank you so much.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I want to tell our audience about you. And so I've always said that it's better to read it than to not do it well. So I'm going to take a moment just to read your bio, and then we'll get right into having our chat.
Okay.
And so here we go. Dr. Pam Perry has been called the Publishers Weekly, a PR guru, and featured in many major publications, including several covers, and on more than 100 radio and TV programs. She also has a 30-year career expertise in marketing, public relations, and journalism in Detroit, including work with the Detroit Free Press, The Edge with Jeffrey Miller, Radio 1, Michigan Chronicle, WNIC, and TheHUB Detroit magazine. She is the publisher of Speakers magazine. She has worked with many nonprofits in the area, including the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History and the Detroit Area Agency on Aging, developing their social media presence, online brand, and digital marketing programs. She is the author of Synergy Energy: How to Use the Power of Partnerships to Market Your Book, Grow Your Business, and Brand Your Ministry, and 115 PR Tips on How to Brand Ministry, both available on Amazon.com. And known as the master of connecting the right people for the right project at the right time, Dr. Pam Perry PR works hard to help her clients brand and get paid. Okay. And so, like a superstar that she is, listen in today as I talk with Pam about her amazing, inspiring career journey and just learn why personal branding strategy is a must have. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you. It's always so like, thank you for all of that. When you say 30-year career, it's just like, okay, that's enough. It's like, I've been doing this actually longer than 30 because I'm 61. So it's not like I started working at 31. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to keep adding years. I just say 30-year plus. Okay, that's what it is. But anybody who yeah, yeah. It's like anybody's been doing this, been around the sun a few times. So
Yeah, well, hey, I'll tell you what, you don't look 61. And I got to tell you that you and I have similar, I think, personalities in the way as it relates to work and that drive to continue. We will not be sitting down at 81. So I'm just
yeah,
telling you right now, that's
I
not
love
going to happen. We're
yes.
just going to keep moving it and doing this walk that God has given us the privilege of doing.
I love what I do.
Let's hop right in it and get started. And what I want to do is talk about your impressive career as a media savvy communicator, that you're highly skilled at navigating newsrooms, public relation firms, magazine platforms. You do that very well. So tell us really your backstory and how it all happened.
Well, I always loved communications, and really, when I think about it, one of my main things was that I really loved books. And so I grew up next door in Detroit to my pastor, Reverend Dr. Joseph R. Jordan. And he, obviously I was involved in the church and that sort of thing, but he had like this mammoth library. And I love this library. I would go over there, and he was working on his PhD at the time, so he had a whole lot of books and stuff on psychology. As a teenager, I would go over there, and I was just like, "Can I borrow this? Can I borrow that?" He was like, "You want to borrow these books?" And so I always loved books and really people. And so one of the things that he had coined for me, he says, "You know what? You really do a good job at promoting." Whenever he would have good programs at the church, his daughter Kim Jordan was just a musical prodigy, and so I would always promote things and plays and things like that she would do, and I would promote it. And he says, "You're going to be doing PR for Jesus one day." And that stuck in my head.
Wow.
And so I said, "What is PR?" And I started really researching what is public relations. And would have it that I would go to college. And even while I was in high school, I was working on the newspaper and all that kind of stuff. Went to Cass Tech. And then when I went to college, went to Wayne State, I majored in journalism. And also my minor was in public relations. So when I got out of school, I worked for the Detroit Free Press, which was in journalism, but I also worked in the advertising department, and I also wrote copy.
Okay.
So copywriting. And I always loved writing. And I remember in high school, on the way to Cass Tech, 45-minute ride, I would read books. And so one of the books I read really, really, I guess you'd say, stuck with me and changed my life was a book called The Rosemary Touch.
Mm.
And it was written by a lady named Lois Wise, who owned an ad agency in Ohio.
Mhm.
And I remember writing her when I was in college. And she owned an ad agency, and she did all these like famous commercials and things like that. And she was a copywriter, but this book was a novel.
Okay.
And it just sounds so fun, so exciting, the advertising world. And I remember at about 16, 17 years old, I said, I think I want to be in that kind of field.
Yeah.
I like advertising and public relations. And so one day I want to own a firm. That's what I said at the time. I had no idea. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I just was, it was just something that I saw myself doing from that book. And then I went on and met other Black women that were doing that. And I worked with them, Jackie Vaughn being one, Dr. Joel Candy. She was one of the first one, Barbara Proctor. I met a lot of the legends that owned ad agencies early on. Terry Williams was
Mhm.
another mentor, PR icon. And so when you can see it, I knew I could be it. And
Awesome.
it took a while, and I really didn't start my company till I was 40, but I had really worked really hard in all the different aspects of media up until that point. But yeah, journalism was my first love, and books.
Wow. It's really interesting because those things that happen to us when we're young, you really don't know how it's permeating and making a difference of what we will become. But I have a similar story. So tell us what you do every day, the name of your company, what you do, and why you have such a blast doing it. I mean, when I see you, I would want to do what you're doing because you have fun.
Yeah, one of my things is like, if I don't love it, I'm not going to do it, right? So I have to love it. And so if I don't love it, then I have to delegate it. So there's certain things that part of my business that I know I won't love, but I delegate it. So I work with my husband as well. So he has more like the kind of the left brain, I guess you would say, kind of stuff, and then I'm like the right brain. So I guess one of the main things is that every day I'm working for clients, obviously doing PR and that sort of thing. I publish the magazine, so I'm really promoting the speakers because I love speakers and authors. They're two and the same to me. And really a lot of marketing. I think for any business, probably 50% of what they do, what the entrepreneur should do, the owner of the business should do, is marketing. And so really developing strategies for the business, really overseeing obviously the operations, but if nothing sells, you won't have a business. So
Yes.
marketing is a big part of it as well, and obviously sales calls and that sort of thing, and definitely helping clients shine like a superstar. And that's really my tagline for my company. My company is PamPerryPR.com. So
Okay.
PamPerryPR.com, really easy for people to know, remember, and that's what I do, and that's about 21 years old this year.
Wow. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. So, you and I were talking in the green room before we came on, and one of the things we were talking about is the importance of branding, right?
Yes.
And as professional women, particularly those that are in the marketplace in corporations or have their own business, or like you say, an author or speaker, there are certain elements of that professional presence that we need to like tighten up and make
Mm.
sure that it's right. And so I want to talk about that for a moment because I think it's important, especially listening in and leaning into you right now, being an expert in this field. You mentioned that there are 4 ways to help speakers and authors grow their brand and get out there. I read that somewhere, either on your website or somewhere. So tell me, what are the 4 ways, or 4 ways that women, why it's important for women, first of all, to tell their branding story, and what are the 4 ways that they should be doing that?
Well, one of the things is it's about visibility, and PR is about credibility as well. So visibility and credibility are the two main things that PR will give you. So if you want visibility, so people will know, my podcast is called Get Out There and Get Known. So if you want to get out there and get known, you do it through media, you do it through PR, you do it through branding, and then credibility is really so that people will buy from people who they know, like, and trust. So how can I trust you? I have to know who said what about you when you left the room,
Yeah,
right? The credibility, the third party endorsement.
yeah,
And so on my website, I have something called the 7 things that the media wants in order to get booked, and also people who are booking you as well.
yeah,
And so I'll go over like at least the four, the basic four.
yeah.
So one of the main things, more than anything, is your bio. And so a lot of times people struggle with their bio. They don't have the right bio. And even with Speakers Magazine, I really ask the speakers, because it's like a little mini one sheet of their speaking opportunities that they provide for companies. And so they don't have a bio. It's written in first person. I need a bio that's written in third person, that's very punchy, that talks about your speaking topics, about what is your value proposition, basically. Why you? Yes, your credentials are important, but it shouldn't sound like a bragging piece. It should always sound like, what have you done for other people? And it should tune people into like, oh, I want to learn more. So the bio is critical. I would suggest people, if they that most people can't write their own bio, that they hire someone to write their bio.
Hmm. Hmm.
And a person, I usually give people like a little questionnaire, and then from the questionnaire, they fill it out, and then I write their bio. Then the second piece they need is headshots. Headshots and even brand shots, but at least start with a good headshot. So we'll start with a headshot, this bust part.
Yeah.
And that part, the image is very important. So the colors that you wear, not too much jewelry, nothing too distracting, something that people can put on a cover of a magazine. So have a headshot, not too, well, it should reflect your personality, but don't look like it's like, oh, I have to have a headshot. And so it's looking so corporate, so masculine that you can't even tell who you are in the personality. A good example of a person who does great headshots, and I recommend her all the time, is Monica Morgan.
Yeah.
Monica Morgan's from
Know
Detroit,
her.
and she pulls out your personality, plus she gives you a corporate headshot. So besides the lighting and the makeup and all of that, but if, say, for instance, if she were doing a picture of Dr. Geneva Williams, her shots have to reflect her personality. So Geneva is like a bridge builder. So
Yep.
she went out to Belle Isle and took a picture of her on like those bridges in Belle Isle.
Nice, nice.
She took a headshot of me. She knew I like pink.
Yep.
And I had a client that had a book called Pink. So we lined up all my clients' books behind me, and I was in a bookstore because I love books. And that's how she did my brand shot. It was a headshot, but it was also in pink and had the books behind. I mean, she's very creative like that. So you need creativity in the headshot, not just like, okay, I went to Sears or went to JCPenney and did
Yeah.
a headshot.
Yeah.
The other part that a person really needs is a website. So the website shouldn't be a whack.
Yeah.
Even if you have a job, you still need a personal website. Just buyyourname.com.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing else on there, put your picture and your bio.
Exactly.
And then maybe how to contact you and what kind of things you speak on, because you're building your personal brand. Obviously you have other things on there, but at the very least that bio and that photo are like the main things that they would need. The
Mm-hmm.
other part that is really critical today, and I would say probably 5 years it wasn't, 10 years ago definitely wasn't, was a video.
Yeah.
Some type of video that shows you, or some kind of audio visual piece. But if you're a speaker, people need to hear you talk. So maybe you have a podcast or with some moving pictures, but a video, 2-minute video, a minute 30 is perfect, showing who you are. It's almost like your elevator pitch, but it,
Right.
it shows it in a way where someone can get, okay, I get them. I get what they're doing. Video is 55% more engaging than other stuff. So we definitely want to have a video. So those are like the main things. Those are the top four. There's some other things that the media needs as well, but for right now, start with that,
Yeah.
because buyingyourname.com. If you can't buy a .com because your name is taken, then I work with people of how to find an alternative too, but always try .com. So for me, Pam Perry was taken by another lady. She wouldn't sell it.
Oh my goodness.
And I just had to do something that would distinguish me. So Pam Perry PR was what I had to buy
Right.
20
Right.
years ago,
Right.
because it wasn't, she wouldn't release Pam Perry. All she had was her resume on there.
I know the
And
feeling,
but she wanted to buy it. So, but she wanted to have it. So I said, okay. But I did buy Dr. Pam Perry
which is nice.
.com.
Now,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so you can
Yeah,
do
so
that
I
now.
have both. So they kind of forward to each other. But those are just kind of like the hints of building a personal brand.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been working in corporate for many, many years.
Right.
You do want to start to build a personal brand, because eventually you may quote unquote retire and start consulting, and people will need to find you. They won't look for your company where you work for. They'll try to
Exactly.
look for you.
Right, right. Well,
Mhm.
those are good tips. And I know, hey, if you ladies are listening, and I know we are, hi, Linda, Hannah, and all the others that are watching us today. Thank you
Oh,
for
there's Dr. Portia.
Dr. Portia. Thank you so much. It looks like LinkedIn is doing well. YouTube is doing well. For some reason, Facebook has an error, but no worries. We always
Okay, Meta, get it together.
get it together. You know how we do it, though. We're flexible and agile. We just keep it moving. So at the end of the day, we will make sure that this video is linked on to Facebook. But now, Pam, why don't you tell me a little bit about your hometown? You were raised in Detroit, right?
Motown,
And
yes.
Motown, and I know that's where we met in the great Motor City. Tell us about your hometown and your community, and what was it like growing up in Detroit, and how did your family set the foundation for who you are?
Yeah, it's Detroit was magical in the 60s, right? And Motown, Berry Gordy was here. You could ride around in the Detroit area and maybe look at the Four Tops house, or this is where Dinah Ross is, or Smokey Robinson. I mean, Detroit was magical. We were prodigies of that whole Motown era, and they were right on the boulevard.
Yeah,
So part of that had an influence on how we saw ourselves, because as young Black children during the 60s, we saw that, wow, we could do that.
yeah.
We could really be that. We could be on the television like Diana Ross and the Supremes was, right? One of my favorites,
I
on
know.
the Ed Sullivan Show, or the Jackson 5, right? Which was
Yeah,
like the heartbeat
I
of
know.
every teen girl.
We were all fighting over Michael and
Oh
Jermaine
my
and
god!
Helen.
Oh my god! Yes, yes. And Marlon, right?
I know it.
That was one too. It was like, okay, y'all can have Vibe, I'll take Marlon. But yeah, so that had a lot to do with, but also more so, Detroit was a city where I saw a lot of Black leadership.
Mhm.
I saw Coleman Young be the mayor, be the man most of my adult life. I saw Black school board members, Deborah McGriff, and all the others. I saw Black police officers that were there. I mean, it was always like in our government. We saw Beverly Payne, Carmen Harlan, Diana Lewis. They were iconic Black women reporters, and that had an effect on me. They were from Detroit. Now, obviously, in the 80s, we saw things like Oprah, but
Yeah.
in Detroit, it always felt like Black people were running things.
Mhm. That's
From
true.
Barry Gordy to
Right.
our mayor to
Right.
people who were heads of things. It was
Right.
like we didn't have that quote unquote, they were the first. To me, it was like they were the only, and that was the normal. And I didn't realize other cities like a
Oh
Charlotte
yeah.
or North Carolina, they don't
Mhm.
have that.
Right.
And so when I started looking at that, I was like, wow, that was really unique during the time that I was there, that Black people really were running things.
That's true.
And a lot of it had to do with the political climate and that sort of thing that was going on in Detroit. Obviously, we had the rebellion or the riots, but after the riots, everything really shifted from the police to the schools to the government, the media.
Mhm.
Jerry Blocker was one of the icons. He was a mentor of mine as well. He's gone on, but
Wow.
a lot of the Blacks in media were in Detroit that were iconic. Mildred Gaddis is still here.
Oh yeah.
A matter of fact, me and Portia started Blacks in Advertising, Radio, and Television here in Detroit, and that ran for about 10 years to really spur on other people coming behind us to go into radio, television, and advertising. And that
Wow.
was one of the things, because it was even though we were a large, we saw a lot of the Blacks in charge, but we knew that we were still quote unquote the minority in certain industries, and we were
Right.
trying to change that.
Exactly. Exactly. Well,
Mhm.
we could talk forever, but you mentioned your mentors. It requires a platform and foundation of people supporting us. When we
Yeah.
have an opportunity to be successful. Who were some of your mentors growing up?
Oh, they're still my mentors today. So, Dr. George Fraser, he's a speaker,
Yeah.
but I met him through my other mentor, which was Dr. Marilyn French Hubbard.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're honoring
yeah,
her.
yeah. So she's a
I don't
mentor
know
of
if you
mine.
know that she's getting honored this year.
Oh my God, she's
Yes.
got the perfect headshot. Okay, we so she will not have that thing. She was president, or is president, of the National Association of Black Women Entrepreneurs. I worked with her when she was launching that 40 years ago.
Yeah.
There's a funny story about that. Another one is Helen Love, who I just love and adore. She was a producer when I met her of PM Magazine, that was at Channel 2, Fox station there. And she was my mentor from college all the way up until now, because she was the one responsible for me working with Detroit Area Agency on Aging, because she produces their radio show
Mhm,
at
mhm.
roughly almost, I won't say her age, but she's up there.
Yeah,
Okay, she's a little
yeah,
bit older than me, and
yeah.
she's still doing the work. She's
There you
still
go.
excellent at what she does. Just really,
Mhm.
really love her. But those are like the main three. And then obviously, like I said, Reverend Jordan, he was always a mentor because he was a networker. He showed me that there is really power in relationship building. So as many people that went to that church, thousands of people, he knew people by name,
Yeah.
knew how to connect people together. And I learned that from him. And obviously it's my parents were my mentors as well, because they were married for almost 60 years. They passed in 2019, but they were mentors in terms of really just showing stability of a family.
Well, I tell you what, today we know as women, who I call it of age. Okay, we're getting there. I'm there, absolutely. And I'm
Proud
grateful
of it.
for my
Mhm.
mom's vision and how it helped guide me. So, as a woman, what do you consider your superpowers to be?
I would say my superpower is probably really getting people, really having that intuitiveness of getting people. People can speak their dreams or their visions to me, and I
Yeah.
can help them turn them into reality.
Hmm.
And so that's one of my superpowers. So people can sit around and talk about their ideas. I'm an activator.
Me too.
So I will say, okay, let's do it this way, A, B, and C, or you need to connect to this person, A, B, and C. So that's one of the things. So I get people when I listen to them. It's almost like a gift. And it's like, for a long time, I was like, don't you get that? Don't you? They were like, no, I didn't put that together. So my mind puts it together like that. It always has,
Yeah.
even as a young child. So I just would say that's one of the main things. The other one is just writing. It's really easy for me, fluid for me to write. I can write under deadline. I can write inspired. I mean, I just love writing. So
Yeah.
communicating with words is really a gift of mine as well. So
Yeah, I often say, I'm not a singer. I never will be. but God gave me other talents, and one of them is similar. I said that's why we have some similarities. I'm a visionary, and I activate what I see, and
Yes.
I don't have to worry about it. I can get to the end before it's there, right? And
Yes.
so I love that, and I love to write. So there's some commonalities there.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think, in the world of conformities, specifically as we go through the pandemic and all the things that have happened, particularly as it relates to women, it's been difficult. And sometimes it's difficult to fit in even more now because we're not face to face, we're not together. How do you continue to navigate in your truest form in terms of authenticity? And I know that's used a lot, but I like the fact that you're you. Okay. And I like that because, like I said, you have a great time, or at least I believe you have a great time because I see it right on your face. Right. And so um, that's a true form of who you are. And so, how do you keep that authenticity going every day inside of, the pandemic and everything that's going on in terms of your truest form?
Yeah, it's kind of like when we first started. It's like if I have a mantra, if I don't love it, I don't do it. And so I try to stay in alignment with that, with my purpose, with my passion, what I know I'm called to do, what I know I'm good at, what I maybe need to work on. But social media really is a way where a person can share their personality, share their brand on social media. So I did my own personal hula hoop challenge, right? Stuck in the house, COVID. It's like, okay, I got this hula hoop. It's been in the garage for like
I think I saw
forever. Yes. So I did my own hula hoop. When I first put it around me, I was like, oh Lord, I did like two times around and it fell. Then the second time it was like 5 times around it fell.
Uh-huh.
The other day I was jamming to James Brown. I was like, okay. And so you only compete against yourself. So that was like an example of like you compete against yourself. You were not that good. Now you're better. Now
Uh-huh.
it's getting to best, right? Portia,
Yeah.
like good, better, best. Never let it rest till the good is better and the better is best. So anyway, so you want to just make sure that you do that what you love, because if you see that every single day you're spending 8 hours of something you hate, that's going to wear on your spirit. It's going to wear on you. You'll
Yeah.
people will see it on your face. So only try to do the things that are in alignment, the things that are the least resistance of things that you really, really love to do. When
Hmm.
you are doing things that are resistant or hard, or it's going to show on your face, it'll wear on your spirit. You'll take it out on other people.
Right.
People will not want to be around you. Your business goes down. You'll be more mad. You'll gain weight. I mean, it's just going to be a whole lot of stuff. Just like, okay, stop it.
Uh-huh.
Take some reflective time. What
True.
is it that you love to do? A, B, C, and D. Do more of that.
Right. I
You,
love it.
it's your choice. I was like, who designed your life? You are the person that has the script and you write it the way you want to write it. And so I was
Right.
like, who's making you do that? I will, when I used to work, and Lisa, I used to, if I didn't like the job, I would quit. I didn't even know what I was going to do. I was like, you know what?
I've been there.
This
I've
is
quit.
not going to work. I said,
Mhm.
y'all not going to drive me crazy. Life is too short. I'm going to quit this job and I will find another one. I
Yes.
was like, I've never felt like I had to be chained to do something. It's my prerogative to say I need to shift. I
Yep.
need to get more in alignment to what's
Hmm.
really, really happened.
Hmm.
Obviously, I would, take in the practicalities about finances and things like that. But I always know that God has my back. It's going
Right.
to work out. And
Yep.
so faith is really, really paramount in what I do. Obviously, Reverend Jordan being my mentor, right? So I
Yeah.
had those spiritual giants in my life. So I knew that. And I just remembered some of the advice that he gave me so many times. He says, he said, if it doesn't work out, what you gonna do?
Yep.
You're gonna get back up and try again.
Try
Because I
again.
was, well, what about this? What, I was just be younger. I was just so worried, 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 worried. And he was like, as an older person, it's like, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Try again. Get
Try
back up.
again.
All
Right.
right.
And I
You're not gonna die.
nope. You're gonna swim. You're gonna make it. I
Yeah.
totally believe in that. We have choices, and I walked away from major companies, and they call me back and say, "Please don't quit." The bottom line is, you have choices,
Yes.
and you have principles, and so you have to be you. And
You have to
I
honor
often say, Pam, that if you're not being you, other people see it anyway. So why are you pretending to yourself?
Whew. Yeah,
You
I
know?
can't mess. I'm allergic to fake people.
Yeah, you just can't. I think we all are, because at the end of the day, especially at this age in life, I ain't got time for it. But more importantly, I didn't have time for it in my 30s either. So here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lindell, for joining. Thank you, Dr. Portia, for joining. And Lindell says shift for alignment. Love it, love it,
Yes.
love it.
I'm a hashtag that. That is for
Yeah,
real.
shift for alignment. And
Mhm.
so tell me, why do you think it's important for experienced women like yourself to reach back and help the next generation of girls coming along?
Well, obviously we stood on the shoulders of other people.
Yes.
So you were asking me about my mentors, but my mentor stood on the shoulders of someone else. Marilyn had her mentors, and then she just felt compelled to pay it forward to me, and then I pay it forward to others. Some of the mentor, and that's like one of the greatest joys. At the end of our life, it's not so much of how much stuff we accumulate, it's how many people we touch. And so
Right.
I just, as we get older, a lot of our friends have gone on, and I've written a lot of obituaries, and that's always been hard. But you realize when you're writing that person's obituary, what people will say, what's important in your life, and it's always what they've done for others, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of impact they've left, what is their legacy. So it's always important to pour into other people. You want to die empty. You don't want to die with all your stuff like this. Like, I never shared all
Yeah.
my gifts. I never really brought anyone along. As a leader, you should, there's leadership when you have other people who are also going to become leaders. So
Right.
I can be really good in PR, but I need to also share with another mentee, Sierra Black. Hey, shout
Yeah.
out her what kind of things to do. Nominate her for awards, push
Yeah.
her to do things out of her comfort zone, make her know that she can do it. Give her books, tell her when things aren't right. Also Quinn, Quinn, I will call her, and it's hard sometimes being that person when you're pushing people along. You may say to someone, says, well, that was a really good interview, but we need to really shift your image. You need to probably change your hair color or your lipstick or just certain things. I said, do you receive that? She says, yes, thank you so much. And so a mentor has to be able to call you out and
Right.
say, this is going to make you better.
Mm-hmm.
It's critical. It's criticism, but it's constructive criticism.
Right.
So you can see them going on the Today Show or Good Morning America, but they can't get there unless someone course corrects them along the way.
Right.
And it could be something that's small that they didn't think anything about it because they're so focused on their message, but the image matters really a lot. Give an example. Today, what I knew your brand colors were going to be pink. I
That
wore pink.
I love it.
To
I
do
love
that, it was intentional
Yeah, I
because I
love it.
knew Career Master
It's pink.
logo was pink.
Yes.
I'm wearing pink. I knew that
And
it's
it looks
girly.
beautiful.
Thank you. And I knew it was girly, so I have my little girly chair in the
I
background because
love it.
it's
I
like
love
it's
it.
career mastered, but also it's feminine. It's
Yeah.
women.
I
And
appreciate that. I happen to have on red today, which is not typical. I don't wear red a lot. People
I
often,
love red too because I love deltas, so that's okay.
yeah. And you got my AKA colors on, so there we go. But definitely, it looks gorgeous on you.
Thank you, thank you. But those are the things that mentors kind of help you with. I remember Helen Love would say things to
Oh
me
yeah, Helen
that
Love.
that would say, she used to work at Ford, and
Yes.
she used to get these tickets, and I used to go to a lot of events that she would go. I call it the chicken dinner circuit, right? I go to chicken dinner circus, but I would meet like Colin Powell, and I mean
Yeah.
she knew everybody, and she would introduce you. And so sometimes I would show up, and we would go together, and she would look at me, and she says, okay, we need to change that. You need to put on a jacket, or and it
Yeah.
was like you're younger, and it's like, okay, that wasn't right. She said, no, 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 we're going to go and we're going to meet this and this and this. I
Yes.
need you to look this way.
I
I was
love it.
like,
Okay,
she would
they
get
say
you in,
snap, snap. This is how it's going to
get you in
be.
shape. Yes, and I appreciate it.
And
I
those are
appreciate
so
it.
important. And you know what? You said something that was critical, and I hope our audience is taking this in, is that you don't want a mentor that is just going to agree with you. All of my mentors, and particularly those that I consider to be my soulmates, okay, gave it to me raw. Okay,
Mhm.
even the times that I didn't want to hear it, they would put the mirror in front of me and say, "Look at you first, okay? Before you start worrying about and thinking about all the things that people have done and how and why this didn't work."
Mhm.
I would have to go in center to understand what I had to do with the situation. And those were the hardest moments. I mean, I would walk away knowing that I was hurting. I felt bad, but I was told later, I'm doing this for you. Because if I can do it with you, then when you get into the experiences of having it from other people, it doesn't hurt as bad, but you've already been prepared for those kinds of messages that you need to understand and recorrect. So
Absolutely.
I'm just suggesting that ladies, as we're thinking about mentors, they don't have to look like you. They don't have to do it sound like you. And it's often better when it's opposite so that the relational part you can build. So I really appreciate what you're saying. Now let's talk one more time about success. Giving up is easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting up every time and falling down is what we do. We get up, we come back. That's who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what makes people successful, and how has it been able to keep you going towards your success? How have you been able to do that even when you've had, those moments where we fall down? How do you get back up?
Yeah, and so I've always had coaches. I've had mentors and I had coaches. Coaches are different. Coaches
Mhm.
are the person that will see your blind spots and really give you that advice or the tools or the resources of what you needed to do or where to go get the resources. So whenever I would work or on something and it's not going right and it's like, okay, you try and try. And so insanity is trying to do the same thing, trying to get a different result. And so finally I realized, I said, something's not working.
Yeah.
I've got to do something different. And that difference would be getting a coach. The coach would say something like, you need to do A, B, and C, or do you have this in place? Do you have that in place? Or you need to do this? And so those are the things that really keep me going, because if I'm doing something and it's not really getting the results I want, I know obviously if I could get it right, I
Yeah.
would have done it by now. So
Yeah.
I can't do it. And so either I have to go get a course, get a book, get a coach, do a program, whatever it is, because insanity is trying to get a different result by trying to do the same thing
Right.
over and over again.
Right.
And
Right.
so I remember one of my coaches, his name was Andrew Morrison, my first coach that I had. I had a lot of coaches over the years, but one of
Yeah.
the first things that Andrew said to me, he says, the main thing with you, he says, you're so nice. This is when I first started. He says, you're so nice. He said, but I'm going to tell you this. If you want to stay in business, don't try to sell to broke folk. He said, they could be nice people and you're nice people. He said, but you need to get paid for your value. He
Awesome.
says, when you're trying to work with quote unquote all the nice Christian people and they have no money, it's not your job to be their nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
to work with them. He said,
Mm.
so your price is your price. This is what you offer. If they can't afford it, then you go to someone else that can. He says it's just like a car. You can go into a Mercedes dealership, but you only have money for a Kia.
Right.
So you're not going to just tell them, well, this is all I have. Give me the Mercedes. No, either that person who has the money for the Kia saves up for the Mercedes
Mm-hmm.
and then goes in there. But
Right.
until then, you can't work with them.
Wow.
So that really was liberating because, Ministry Marketing Solutions Inc., which is the parent company of Pam Perry PR, was trying to work with all of the people early on in my career, what I called the broke folk, where they would just give you a tip instead of your fee. And I was like, this is
That's
not
not
working.
working. Not working.
And so it wasn't until really I felt the coach really gave me that green light. I don't know what that was about. It was a mental shift that I had to make to
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what, I can't help it. And so I have a lot of free content. My podcast is free, my
Yeah.
blog is free. I
Yeah.
have all this free content. So if they really want it, and then I have a program called Ready Set Go Speak.com. That's there and as available. So I've did my part,
Yeah.
but without sacrificing my business to
Right.
help someone else. So
Well,
that's
I
really
believe you should have some. I think you should have. I teach in my shadow class, in my class, the master class. You have to have some freebies, but at the end of the day, it's about monetization and what it
yeah,
is that you're going to be able to sell the value of your expertise
yes.
for. So I totally agree. And so for those that are listening, you can have some free things, but at the end of the day, the return of that.
You can't give it all away for free.
Exactly. You can't. You can't. So last but not least, and I have two questions. I think we got a little bit more time. So one more thing. If you could have dinner with four people, just give me two of those four people that would inspire you right away.
Ooh, I would say that the number one person, I would fan all over her would be Oprah. All right,
I think we'll be fighting to get there.
we know that. And then the other person, I would say, I mean, is it dead or alive?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dead or alive. Then the other person would be Dr. Martin Luther King. So
Yeah.
I would say those are probably the two influential people, in my life, I guess you would say, in terms of like standards and just the spirituality, the smartness, and
Yeah.
just really like, I mean, Dr. Martin Luther King, we just had his holiday, but people are just learning so much more about him
I
year
know.
after year. And I was like, you know what? He graduated from college at 16. I mean, he's
16.
been smart. I was like, he won a Nobel Peace Prize. And I mean, I would love to just sit with him. I
Yeah.
met his daughter, Bernice, who
Oh, nice.
really has his spirit. I love her, love
Yeah.
her. And she still does Be a King on Twitter. I follow her and stuff. She's just so smart. And the other one will be Oprah. And
Oh,
that's for obvious reasons, because she's like the iconic for
oh yeah.
Black girl magic,
Yeah.
right? Black
Yeah.
girls rock, Black girls everything. And so
Absolutely.
she came from nothing to like the billionaire she
I
is,
know. And I've often
without
said,
compromising, without
without
compromising.
compromising. That's very
Mhm.
key. Without
Mhm.
compromising. I've often said that she's my best friend and she doesn't even know it. It's
Yeah,
all
Gail
good.
got to move out the way. It's
I
like
know
really, it's
Gail's got to
Pam.
move
It's
out
really,
the way.
it's about it.
I don't even need her to put me on the show. Just be my best friend. So
Yeah.
last night, Lisa, I'd like parting words from you. I ask all of my guests, and first of all, thank you for being here. I actually had such a ball chatting with you.
Oh, thank you.
Parting words for Career Mastered. I have women that certainly are proven that are on the show, and I often ask them to leave a word of advice for women who want to master their career, and I call it the Career Mastered moment. So this is your moment to say what you want to leave for our audience.
Well, the main thing with anything, being a publicist, visibility is very important. So you need to get out there and get known. When I say get out there, meaning that you're going to take every opportunity to show up.
Yeah.
Show up, and I always say those that show up go up. So you want to make sure that you're showing up and shining your light. Don't be afraid, don't dim it. There's a Marianne Williamson talks about, making sure that your light shines, and just because your light shines doesn't mean that you're going to dim someone else's light. So just show up as your best self, compete against yourself. Your best every day is who you're comparing yourself to. Don't compare yourself to other people. You are the one that you're competing against. So just look in your lane, stay in your lane, and just really show up and shine, and get out there and get known, and get out of your comfort zone. That's where all the magic happens, outside of the comfort zone. So you've got to do that. And the main thing too is, if you have someone who's a mentor in your life, listen to them, do what they say. And if you can't talk to them in person, read their books, their blogs, their tweets, any of those type of things. It really would help to do that. And then show up to their conferences, their events, sign up for their programs, read their magazines. Those kind of things are really, really important. So I just think that you've got to put in, a good percentage, probably maybe 25% of your time, in terms of personal development, if you want to be a success.
Right.
It's not just like you're going to wake up and roll out of bed and, oh, it's just going to happen. You really do have to put in a lot. I mean, you look at Les Brown or E.T. or George Bush, any of those powerful speakers, they spend a lot of time. They're great motivational speakers, but George's library is mammoth.
Yeah.
It's mammoth.
Yeah.
Like thousands and thousands
I
of
know
books
he's
that
amazing. He's
he's
amazing.
read. Yeah, so you do have to make sure that you are. And then E.T. was like a dropout in Detroit. He dropped out of Detroit public schools, and now he has his PhD from Michigan State University.
Yeah.
So it's not like he loves to read. He knew that he had to read in order to be a success. So readers are leaders. It's really
Wow.
important.
Well,
really
Pam Perry, the PR guru, and so much more. I have enjoyed you today. You look beautiful. I love the pink, but more important, I love the message. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you next time. I enjoy your day.
All righty. Thank you, Dr. Lisa.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, there's that.
Forgot to move you. I forgot to move Pam. She's back in the green room. I got to tell you, that was amazing. We had probably more time that we could have talked today, because Pam is full of knowledge and value. And ladies and gentlemen that listen today, I hope you'll go back and listen to her message and all that she shared about branding, about showing up, about making sure that you're doing the right thing for your own publicity and for your own value and worth. And I think that all of those tips were actually free. I mean, she's a consultant, so at some point you could probably be in front of her and learn so much more by just contacting her. She gave you her information of how to reach her. She's a publisher of Speakers Magazine and so much more. So I want to thank Pam today, but I want to share with you that our Career Mastered Women's History Leadership Awards is up and coming. We're so excited. We're going into our 8th year, and I can't believe it's 8 years. We started this event in Detroit, Michigan, Motor City, and here we are in our 8th year. This year, we will be in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're actually going to have an in-person event. We're going to have at least 100 people, fully vaccinated, of course, together to talk about women's leadership. And the theme for this summit is Engage, creating the possibilities for the future. And so we're truly excited. Our keynote for day one is Felicia Hall Allen, who was WNBA star, as well as a consultant now here in South Carolina. And we have so many honorees that you know. As we said, Marilyn French Hubbard is going to be honored. We have Albania Rosario is going to be honored. We have Jasmine Crowe and so many other phenomenal women that will receive the Career Master Leadership Award. And this year, I wanted to share that every other year we have the Diversity Impact Award. So this year we'll have 50 women on our Career Master Diversity Impact list. And we're excited to acknowledge the work and achievement that these women have done in diversity. Tickets are on sale right now, early bird until February 1st. So you have a couple of days to get the least cost for the greatest value by going to careermastered.com or careermasteredsummitawards.com. We can't wait to see you and certainly hope that either you will join us in person in Charlotte, or if you prefer, you can buy the live stream ticket, which will be showing selected elements of the show online. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back with you next Thursday with our next guest, and certainly have a great day. Bye now.